Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the shipbuilding sector of India and all the things which are going around this shipbuilding sector. So first of all, I'll just highlight the importance of this sector. It's a very critical sector for any economy, and particularly when the economy is a vast economy like India, it becomes very critical for India to develop its maritime sector and shipbuilding, shipping, cargo, logistics, port, everything. So it's very critical sector for us, and historically from ancient times, India had been one of the great naval powers in the world since long time. But recently, I mean, from last 100 years or after independence, I would say, we are not doing that good in terms of percentage of trade and the ships which we have. So roughly, I'll give you the statistics. The ownership of ships in terms of percentage is almost like less than 1% or around 1% of the global shipping fleet size of the entire world is suppose 100. So our ship, India is having hardly one ship out of 100. So 1% share, around 1%. The same is in case of building capacity. The shipbuilding share of market share in shipbuilding industry. India's market share in shipbuilding industry is also around 1% or so. So we hardly built any ship, and whatever ships we built are mostly, if I'm not wrong, I'm assuming this, it is a naval or the defense related things, and some of the cargo ships, but we are not doing great in this. So government of India launched many programs regarding this. So in this series, I mean, there will be multiple series. In this series we will be discussing about the shipbuilding and related infrastructure sector. That series we are starting today. India has launched Maritime India Vision 2030. So this document is with me, and I am going to discuss one chapter from that document. It is related to shipbuilding. So we'll have this short videos on these policy documents. We cannot cover the entire document. Entire document is of, I think, 300 pages. So there are many such documents which shapes the policy, and of course then the market and industry. So I'll be discussing this one chapter regarding shipbuilding, and you will be watching the screenshots of the policy document here on the screen. So I'll have a quick review of what this chapter only, not the entire policy, but one by one we will go through all the chapters and all the policy documents related to shipbuilding. So let's start with this chapter number 6 of India Maritime Vision 2030. So here is the chapter which I am talking about. It's chapter 5. The chapter 5 here is in front of you. It states promote domestic shipbuilding and shipbuilding repair and recycling. So this chapter talks about the domestic shipbuilding, repair and recycling. So as you can see, I'll just go through the basic definition of what shipbuilding, ship repair and ship recycling. Shipbuilding, channelizing domestic demand for Indian shipbuilding, leveraging Atmanirbhar Bharat PPP provisions, public-private partnership provisions, and minimizing shipbuilding cost by focusing on labor productivity, material and financing costs. Ship repair, channelizing domestic demand for Indian repair, leveraging Atmanirbhar Bharat, ship recycling, waste to wealth. Recycling the ship, it's a big business, but globally we are not doing great in any of the segment. So it talks about through modification of BIS regulations and development of ship recycling infrastructure. Now, another picture in front of you, it talks about shipbuilding. Shipbuilding is manufacturing industry endowed with the unique feature of having nearly 65% value addition coming from other technology ancillary industries such as steel, electronics, engineering, port, infrastructure, etc. So, being order driven industry where vessel is custom built, building an order book is essential for growth sustenance of the shipbuilding industry. Here are a few policies of the government. Financial assistance policy on shipbuilding 2016, grant of infrastructure status 2016, Atmanirbhar Bharat policy 2020, revised in 2020, SOP for chartering and procurement of tugs, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana is a map of global competition, shipbuilding capability in India and globally. So we have Korea and China. The flags are of Korea and China. China, Japan, Korea. This dominates the majority of shipbuilding industry globally. Here is the cost comparison of global shipbuilding industry. So India is 100% means in comparison to India, what is the cost in other countries? So it's China first, then Korea and Japan. So we are having these countries. Basically, we are competing with these countries right now, or we want to compete. So you can see the cost comparison. I would like to highlight one important point where significant difference is there, and it is the financing cost. So financing cost in India is 10 to 12% rate of interest, whereas in China it is 2 to 5%, Korea and Japan 1 to 2% or 0 to 1%. So that's the game of financing. The financing is very important because it's a long term. I mean, the project is long term. It takes years to build one ship. So we really have to rely on a consistent finance, and financing at a lower interest rate will be really beneficial for any industry, but for a long term capex like this, it is very much required. So this is the India Shipbuilding Vision 2030. It started in 2020. 2020 to 25, we are aiming to have some sort of threshold, critical scale, and 25 to 30 utilize supply chain ecosystem and scale to cater domestic and export market. No additional support required. 20 to 25, support to be provided for domestic demand. Vessel can be built readily and at international prices in India. So this is a graphical representation of how we are planning to go ahead for Maritime Vision 2030. So moving ahead, further the document talks about the regulatory interventions which are done by the largest three players in the world: China, South Korea and Japan, and what they did to gain. You can see China in year 2000 had 5 to 6% market share and now has 30 to 35% market share. Cabotage only for Chinese flag, Chinese built vessel, foreign flag, Chinese built vessels allowed in Shanghai Free Trade Zone. High tariff duties, VAT 17% for imported ships, soft loan tax exemption for local shipbuilders. Somewhat similar things are for Korea as well as Japan. Tax benefits, easy financing for shipbuilders, This is some of the highlighted points here. Subsidy for scrapping old vessels, Japan. Financial support to promote new ship demand, reimbursement up to 60% of cost of new vessels. Also, in the last column, Japan, last point, tax benefit to promote shipbuilding, fleet modernization, depreciation up to 60% in 5 years on Japanese owned ships. So these are some of the regulatory interventions done by these countries to support their shipbuilding sector. Again, I will be highlighting some interesting things in the report, this chapter. Global shipping ancillaries, these are the ancillary industries plays very important role in shipbuilding. So these are shipping ancillary industries of the respective country. South Korea, China, Japan 2019 क्या शेयर इन 2019 में ये कंट्रीज़ का क्या शेयर था 37%, साउथ कोरिया 33%, चाइना जापान 13%. So that was the share of these countries in the shipping market. Now another picture talks about the Indian ancillary across industries forming association. We have automobile, ACMA, we have Indian Electrical and Electronic Manufacturer Association, Lightning Association. So these ancillary industries will be very useful to produce a ship, and it requires a lot many parts, like thousands of parts. So that kind of ancillary industries are present in India to great extent. That can be utilized to leverage the shipbuilding sector. Now let's move ahead. Here is a picture in front of you which talks about the Mumbai, Chennai and Cochin as a potential ship design cluster locations. And already we have Mazgaon Dock, Cochin Shipyard, Goa Shipyard, Garden Reach Shipbuilders, like these companies operating in India for shipbuilding and related activities. So these could be potential zones where shipping related things can be done. Let's move to another part of the chapter, ship repair. So ship repairing is a very big industry, and the growth reaching market value of $40 billion by 2030, supported by developments in the markets in Southeast Asia and India. Though India's share in global ship repair is less than 1%, crucial fact, the country's location is favorable with 7 to 9% of the global trade passing within 300 nautical miles of the coastline. So around 10% trade, and it will increase. I am sure it is going to increase. We are having Vizhinjam port, we will be having Vadhavan port on the western coast of India, and this 7 to 9% share is definitely going to reach 15% in next 5 years likely. So many containers are passing through the Indian coastline, and we are not having ship repairing facilities. So that is something kind of we are losing on these things. The untapped potential in the Indian ship repair market can be attributed to presence of competing international ship repair yards on the major trade routes and capability gap of Indian yards in repairing certain kinds of vessels. So we have to improve this, basically our infrastructure and capabilities to serve this market. So government is proposing Atmanirbhar Bharat and PPP kind of models for this ship repair sector. Here is a global map stating strategic opportunity to offer ship repair services to Indian Navy and allies. So Indian Navy is obviously the client, and apart from that, various naval bases which are there globally India can provide ship repair services to these global naval yards. Let's move to the next section of the chapter. Here is the picture in front of you which states what is the requirement basically. Infrastructure recommendations, ship docking facilities, ancillary parks, OEM service center, housing for workers, basic thing, floating dry docks, warehouses for value-added services, logistic infrastructure. So all these things, these are the detailed description of these things and which are required. The very last point I will just highlight. Live tracking for shipments using GPS technologies allowing the teams to constantly monitor. We should not use GPS. We should use our own navigation system, which is launched by ISRO, at least in India and Indian nearby areas of Indian subcontinent. So these are the basic requirements, infrastructure requirements and recommendations of the committee. Let's move ahead. Cluster Management Committee recommendations. Coordinate and promote the local industrial hubs, MSMEs. Promote participation of ancillary industries. Coordinate with recycling yards. Free trade zones. Fiscal and regulatory recommendations. Free trade zone. We should have free trade zones basically. Incentivize key global OEMs to stock spares. Temporary immigration work permits for foreign experts. So we do require human resources as well. So this visa related restrictions or housing or a quality stay housing facilities should be there for foreigners as well as the domestic workers and staff. This picture in front of you just highlights where could be the potential locations for ship repair areas. So basically the western coast and eastern coast, we have a lot of potential when we look at this industry. This is the operating model. It's a bit of a planning thing, so not very relevant to us. Ship recycling, basically this is an industry which is much talked about since long time. Let's go through this. As of 2020, ship breaking in India takes place mainly at Alang Sosia in Gujarat with limited capacities available at Kolkata, Kerala and Mumbai. While India's market share in ship recycling market has dropped since 2016, Bangladesh market share has more than doubled on account of limited regulations and higher requirement of steel scrap, driving higher price realizations for ship owners. So what can be done? Relaxation in BIS standards, steel scrap standards, redevelopment of plots at Alang and creation of ship repair cluster, setup of facilitation center to promote Indian ship recycling. Current BIS regulations limit usage of recycled steel scrap in manufacturing re-rollable bars, driving lower prices in India. Share of recycled ship steel scrap usage for re-rollable steel has dropped from 70-80% to 40-50% post imposition of quality control order. So it is one of the barrier in developing ship recycling. Key initiatives as proposed in the report: development of ship recycling park, development and establishment of ISO 17025 accredited lab testing for hazardous waste, merge small yards to make a big yard, treat Alang as 14-kilometer stretch major port and ensure 2 km from seashore under port area sealed with the wall gates. All re-rolling and melting mills housed inside the port. This is something very critical recommendation basically. Compliance and environmental challenges, converting all yards into dry dock to prevent attacks from international NGOs, ensure adoption of zero residue model. It's very well taken. Zero residue model for of ship recycling at all plots, underground waste water, oily water collection from all yards. So these are some of the recommendations of in this chapter number 5 of Maritime India Vision 2030. So you can see the government has proposed some things to revive the shipbuilding, ship repair and ship recycling in India. Also this chapter highlights there will be a lot of dependency on ancillary industries. So building a ship is not about a company or a one area. It's a very big industry and it takes time to build. Unfortunately, we don't have a very strong shipyards in India. Government is taking proactive measures to build. As you all know, it's a open fact that majority of trade, global trade in goods is channelized through the sea routes, the waterways. And that's why having a strong shipping sector, shipbuilding, shipyards, ship repair and ship recycling is very critical for India to survive in long term. Moreover, it will create a lot of jobs in almost all industries, starting for artificial intelligence software to scrap recycling, then trading metal and metal scrap, steel and related. Ship requires everything, whatever electronics, paint, everything basically. So these things will be in demand for, this sector will create demand for these things. And it's again, I am highlighting, it's a long term story. It's not something, the rolling time, the cash conversion cycle, to put it in simple words, financial jargon, it's very long for shipping sector. To build a ship, it takes years. And to create infrastructure to build ship, it takes decades. So fortunately we have started in this decade, so definitely we'll be moving ahead. We have a very good docks and yards like Mazgaon dock, Cochin shipyard, Goa shipyard, and a lot of these yards since British era. But the point is that we need to revive this. We have to strengthen the business and financial side of these companies and trust whatever organization they are operating under. That was a bit of India's Maritime Vision 2030. I'll be discussing about this sector ahead in this series. So we will be starting this many series on various sectors. This was regarding the shipbuilding sector. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to this channel to keep having updates regarding various sectors. Thank you.